Welcome to CitySquare's A Night to Remember 2020. 2020 has definitely presented challenges for CitySquare's annual fundraiser that has historically featured entertainment icons like Diana Ross, Jay Leno, Jerry Seinfeld, Reba McEntire, and so many more for almost 2 decades. We're all doing things a bit differently these days, so the stars of this year's A Night to Remember are those of you joining us tonight to support CitySquare in its fight against poverty. So welcome to A Night to Remember at Home. CitySquare fights the causes and effects of poverty. This organization believes in its neighbors and their ability to move out of poverty when given the opportunity. The opportunity to have a real home, the opportunity to feed their family, the opportunity to have health care, the opportunity to find employment and hope for a future. These should be opportunities that we all share. CitySquare works with neighbors in need to help them move out of the cycles of poverty, often homelessness, through programs that provide a pathway to a future that enables them to be self-sufficient, productive citizens with pride in their role in the community. COVID-19 has not stopped them. CitySquare has continued housing, feeding, employing, and caring for its neighbors. As the CEO of CitySquare, Larry James has led this effort from a small storefront food pantry in East Dallas to one of the largest social services organizations in Texas. Larry is here with us tonight to tell you more about CitySquare and to introduce you to some of the people who've been served by the organization that has come to be a leader in the fight against poverty in North Texas.
I don't think I've ever been prouder of a group of people than I am of our staff and of our neighbors who have come exhibiting a spirit of engagement, commitment to one another, and commitment to our whole enterprise. During this period of time, as hard as it is to believe, while we were shut down with only frontline people working, our team found housing, permanent housing, for 75 families. That's just what happens here. I've seen it again and again and again. Our people are devoted to the mission. Our people are acting out of their own personal commitment to make a difference. And the neighbors who come here soon catch on to that reality, and they bring other dimensions that make it even richer, sweeter, and better. And so I am very, very proud of how the entire community has responded so far to this difficult situation. So we're not going away. That means that no matter what comes or what happens, we're going to stay here as long as we can to provide the hope and the vision of a new opportunity for all the children and the parents and the elderly folks who pass through these doors. But we're motivated to be innovative by this idea that community never stops. We're not satisfied. We're grateful for all the donors, we're grateful for our staff, we're grateful for our neighbors, but we're never satisfied. Our gratitude propels us toward the next step, because this is a long-term process. This is not 100-yard dash. This is a marathon plus. The community that we love and that we serve and that we work with is the most important thing to us in making the community work for everyone. That's our mission, and we're not going to turn back from it.
My name is John Seibert. I am president of CitySquare. I want to thank all of our sponsors and friends for being a part of A Night to Remember at Home. Special thanks to Brian Curtis, NBC5 anchor and CitySquare board member, for being our master of ceremonies tonight. And I want to thank Larry James, our longtime CEO and champion. You are about to see the annual CitySquare video, which tells the story of CitySquare and our work amongst our friends in the city. And while this has been a very unique year, the story of CitySquare remains the same. We fight the causes and effects of poverty through service, advocacy, and friendship. We are driven by the power of empathy, the ability to share in and relate to and understand the feelings and experiences of those we serve. And we understand that poverty takes many forms. It's not just economic. All of us are rich and all of us are poor, just in different ways. And so the power of City Square is the power of how relationship and friendship taps into our shared wealth and treats our shared poverty. And so the interactions and encounters that happen at City Square happen within the context of friendship. You will see that in the story of Michael and Deshaun, that together as friends, we are better. And we fuel one another, we encourage one another, we make one another whole. You will see that in the holistic way that JR does her work. Each of us shows up with our own brokenness, our own needs, our own empty places, and pours into one another so that each of us can be filled. That's the story of City Square. It's a story of how we create opportunity and prosperity, hope, and a better future by choosing to see one another and listen to one another and care for one another as friends. We are thankful for your friendship and for your willingness to be a part of this community. Together, we can overcome this year and every year to come, and we can build a better and stronger community for the sake of this city.
My name is John Newton. I am the City Square Community Health Nurse. And my role is just the overall health and wellness of our neighbors and those that are in our housing programs. So I've been a nurse for 35 years. When my children were small and I didn't have insurance and we didn't have money, it was a free clinic ran by a church in our neighborhood. That's where they took care of my children. You'd have to stand in line. You had to be there at 5 in the morning. My daughter would get pneumonia every year. And one morning she was running a fever, so I went and stood in line, and they only took 11 people, and I was number 12. I just stood there and cried. It was freezing. I told the nurse, I said, please, please, please see my daughter. So she said, oh no, you have to be seen. And so they brought us in and gave her injections. And I always have that in the back of my mind that there are some people that they're number 12 in line. When I went into nursing, I just went in with the attitude of being that one nurse that would take care of number 12. When our neighbors encounter City Square, it's at that moment. I'm hungry, I'm hurting, I'm cold, I'm tired. So City Square is able to put people, put programs, put things in place. Okay, now that we've got you fed, let's sit down and talk about what got you to this place and what can we do to keep you housed or keep you well. So it's about advocacy. I do a lot of advocacy. I do a lot of going to people's doctor's appointments and telling the doctor the story in a way that the doctor hears medical to medical. We had a gentleman that very obese, lots and lots of medical problems, and the minister was trying to help him get his disability and get him to his doctor's appointments. So I sit down and talk to him. You gotta know the story. I went to his appointment and the doctor comes in. I said, he had a colostomy from a gunshot wound. It was reversed and he left with a hernia. I took this big story and went, boop. He said, really? So he had him stand up and cough, and it's like this cantaloupe-sized hernia came out. He's like, whoa, I didn't know that. You know, the whole care plan turned around, and we were able to get him some help that he needed. I also had a gentleman here at the cottages that had a fractured hip since in the 90s from a car accident. We went to all these appointments, therapy, so finally he has his hip surgery. After 20 years of walking around dragging his leg. Fine, he was riding a bike the other day. I was like, wow. It's knowing the story, having somebody listen to it, being an advocate. If you want to fight, I'll fight with you. It's gonna be hard, but it's not impossible. You can't miss any appointments. You gotta take your medicine, you gotta quit smoking, you gotta be drug-free. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, my office is right here. So at that moment when they sign on and say, okay, I'm ready. All right, let's roll. So it's a holistic approach, and I don't know of anybody that does it any better than City Square.
My name is Michael Gwynn. I am a permanent supportive housing coach, and I work for TRAC CitySquare. I have a caseload of youth who we help get housing, and we help pay for their housing until they're able to pay a percentage of it. I'm originally from East Texas, Jacksonville. Growing up in the country was a lot different than growing up in the city. After a little while, I stayed with my grandmother because of some issues at home. It put me on the path to wanting to finish high school, but I didn't have a way out until I discovered pole vaulting. So I pole vaulted, and that was a way to get a scholarship, and that led me to college. And of course, going to college, I saw that things are a lot different than just staying in a small town, and I liked it, and I wanted more of that. Bachelor's, master's, next thing you know, I'm working for Child Protective Services. I just wanted to make sure that no one had to struggle as hard as I did, that there's an easier way. Deshaun, oh man. When I met Deshaun, I don't think that he's had much light in his life.
So my name is Deshaun Palmer. I am 23 years old. I'm on track. I'm gonna say it like that. For me, growing up was rough. I don't know my mom and I don't know my dad. Grandma came from New York. You know, she helped me out for a little while. I was disobedient, getting in trouble in school a lot. If it wasn't my way, it was the highway, and that was just my mindset back then. In and out of jail. From jail, I moved to a placement in Houston, and then from CPS into the foster care program.
He was very passionate, very aggressive, and at the same time, super friendly and relatable, because as we talked, we found out that we both love lyrics and music.
So the first day Mike came out to meet me, it was an excitement, I can say that, because knowing that I'm actually finna get my own apartment.
Housing is a vital part of helping the youths get and stay on their feet, and to give them that sense of home. After they're stable, we make sure we try to provide them with some job skills, and a lot of time that includes, helping them get their ID, driver's ed, or whatever else other needs.
They basically kept me on track and guided me in the right direction. When I was down, provided me with bus passes to get to work, provided me with food, helped me out with getting jobs, basically opened my eye up to wanting to know what reality's like, and not as a kid anymore,
By having someone who actually he felt cared about what he had to say and didn't judge him for that. I'm gonna be your caseworker, I'm not going anywhere. That was definitely a light for him. We both kind of met each other at a point in time that he didn't know until I told him when I came to TRAC, I was pretty much in the same boat as you. I, just like my youth, was sleeping out of my car with my dog. I just went through a divorce. I was on Facebook. I saw an ad on someone's page. I immediately sent an email. I got a call the next day or the day after that from Jackie in housing at TRAC. And I didn't tell them that until months later, that, this literally saved my life. It literally catapulted my life. How about that?
Without them repeatedly telling me what I should do and don't do this and don't do that, I feel like I would be in jail right now,
I think he'll be able to do it because it's tough love with me. I don't pull any punches with Deshaun. I'll call him up and say, hey, we just keep working that we can rebuild. And that's what we've been doing together. And that's kind of what CitySquare does with individuals. I know what I want to do with my art of poetry and spoken word. He knows what he wants to do with his art of music and hip hop. So I know one day I want to go back to school and get my doctorate.
Rapping doesn't go the way I wanted to. Meteorology, that was always a dream too. Storm chasing tornadoes, hurricanes and all that.
For me, it's going to be, success, because that's what it's all about here at CitySquare, especially at TRAC. It's about, individual successes for our youth to be able to turn their lives around to the point where they don't need their hands held. That we want them to feel as normal as possible, as independent as possible. So it's going to be wonderful to see Deshaun have that same success.
"2020 has created some unique challenges and opportunities for CitySquare to be innovative and creative. And so tonight we have created a new event, a night to remember at home. And so when we thought about who would be ideal ambassadors and representatives of our mission and our values, we immediately thought of Tom and Karen Falk. They are tireless servant leaders who have given so much to the city of Dallas, who truly care about our work and who care about giving of themselves for the sake of the community. And so we were so honored when they agreed to be honorary chairs for a night to remember at home and to lend their leadership and their service to this great work. So it is my pleasure to be able to introduce to you the honorary chairs of a night to remember at home, Tom and Karen Falk.
Thank you for joining us for a night to remember at home. Now you know why Tom and I are so committed to City Square and their mission. We want to thank everyone who joined us tonight. We want to thank all of our sponsors, and we want to thank the industry members who put this event together and created such wonderful experiences for you in your homes. So thank you very much.
Let me add my thanks to Karen's. We hope you all had some fun tonight, and we hope you learned a few things, and we hope you were inspired. And if you saw our video where we sent it out before this event, we asked you to give until it feels good, and I hope you got that feeling tonight. And I hope you got the sense that the gift that you made a difference. And if that felt good to you, and if you want to do more of it, City Square's here and the need is going to be great for a long, long time. We'd encourage you to learn more, get involved, volunteer, and I promise you, you will be the richer for it. So thank you again and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you to the Falks and each of you for joining us tonight for the 2020 City Square, a night to remember at home. Whether you are just now being introduced to City Square or if you are a longtime supporter, welcome to a family that works tirelessly to improve the lives of our neighbors and to make a positive impact on our community. Please learn more by going to citysquare.org. Good night, everyone. Stay well on behalf of NBC5 and City Square. Thank you.